We are always taught to be politically correct, always taught to mince our words, maybe sugarcoat it even, so as to not offend other people. But I think you get to a point where you're like, I need to let this out. Like, we can't keep saying that, oh, race is a sensitive issue, so let's not go to that boundary because racial harmony. But what is racial harmony if you don't even freaking talk about it?
Would you agree that most Singaporeans cannot agree on what racism looks like?
That's a good first question.
Got me thinking right there.
Yeah.
Hey, look at me.
You go first?
No, you go first. I want to hear your answer also.
I think it's a very see, the way that I'm struggling to put it into words really shows how much of a tight-lipped topic it is.
Yeah, I think most Singaporeans don't agree what racism is because I think nobody's really dared to talk about it in the first place.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's why nobody knows what it is.
I would think that most people cannot agree on it because, like, okay, so for example, right, what is racist to me might not be racist to you.
I think most people don't know when they are being racist, and therefore there's no agreement on what racism is because you don't even know that's happening, right?
Then you have the conversation with those people
And
who are
there's
in denial.
There's some who say it doesn't exist, and that pisses me off.
I agree that most Singaporeans cannot agree. Not in a bad, like, disagree way, but more or less maybe casual, maybe some a little bit more hardcore.
Casual? Racism got casual on me?
What do you mean when racism got casual one? Of course there's casual racism, like backhanded compliments or like saying things like, oh, you're very aspirational for a Malay dude. Or usually the Malays I know not aspirational one, they just work as Grab drivers.
For me, that's the puzzling thing. I don't know whether some people think it's racist, you know. I don't know whether people are actually aware that it's rude. So do we categorize it as rude, impolite, or do we categorize it as racist?
For example, when I walk into a room and the guys are like, hey, I think we need to, up the lighting a bit because Ray's here. And I'm like,
Yeah, fuck, race or black. Yeah. Hey, sorry. Cannot see. Yeah. But
I mean, yes, I'm of darker skin color, so
That's right.
be a bit more mindful when you're taking a photo so you can see my face also.
Exactly.
But, again, now we start talking about that balance between true intention
Yes.
and being racist.
That's right. That's right.
Does the lack of intent mean that casual racism isn't really racism?
Okay, see, I'm trying to digest. There's a lot of deep stuff going on.
In a country like ours, I think intent is very important. If not, right, every Tom, Dick and Harry can be a racist guy.
If there is not a strong enough intent, or like there is no intention at all to be racist, then it's probably just ignorance, right? So it's very hard to say that that's casual racism. But at the same time, growing up in Singapore, it's very hard for there to actually just be like ignorance, like pure ignorance, to say that, okay, you just don't know lah.
If Jack was to make a casually racist remark, for example, I mean, he's my buddy. I know he has my back. And, sometimes we'll joke, we'll make jokes like, oh, Chinese fellas all have small penises, I mean, we know for a fact it's not true, right? Every guy is...
Sorry.
Everybody has different size penis,
Yeah.
That's basically it. But I mean, so at what point does it become comedy? When is it insulting?
Yeah.
But if it's somebody I barely know and they make a remark, I don't even know you, how am I supposed to know whether you're intending it or not?
Yeah.
You're not my friend.
So is joking with friends about race racist?
I personally don't think it's racist or anything, because if I were to make fun of my friends or my friends make fun of me, or like we're joking around, right? We joke about everything, like your closest friends, right? Everything is on the table, like families, bodies, face, whatever, I can throw at you, I'm throwing at you. I really don't care if the walls are this. Like if I'm telling my bro that blah 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 and someone else hears it and it's like, hey, Muzaffir said this, I'm going to be like, yeah, I did say this to this person
At
whom
that point
I
of
have
time.
this relationship with, and he knows what I mean, I know what he means, we both know what we mean, so who the fuck are you,
I really don't know. I feel like there are times where we joke, but we know it's just, it's because you are you and I'm me and we have this relationship, so we can. But at the same time, I also know deep down in my head it's not right. So it's just...
I think this is where there's a fine line, because like, even though your intentions might be really not to offend the other party in a particular way, but I think what's more important should be how the other party feels in receiving that remark.
Yeah.
So I think that's often dismissed. I think too often we say, hey, I was just joking lah, chill lah bro.
Yeah.
But actually, do you care to ask like, hey bro, were you, like how do you feel when I said that?
Yeah.
I think that's the questions we need to start asking. That's for me at least. Maybe I'm just a sensitive dude.
So I think among friends, very close friends, I think it's mostly okay. Cannot be like fair weather friends. If a colleague said some like racistic to me, right?
Yeah, so okay, so on that note, so that day I made a mistake, right? I found out about this recently as well. I mean, like last year, this GDL, right? So basically, it's like Chinese phrase, 感动流泪. There was a post that we were crafting for work, lah, and then I put that in. And then somebody, my Malay colleague, so she said, what is GDLL? Then I just like, I just did it. And then I also told my friend, like, my other colleagues, like, can you please delete it? And then after that, I told her, like, I said, damn, what should I do now? Like, I feel bad. Should I apologize? Because, yeah, it's not cool.
Can I just say? No, can I just say, like, I appreciate what you did, but I think it's a whole other conversation, right? And I understand, like, when it comes to language, sometimes certain things you want to say, it's easier to express it in a different language, right?
Yeah.
I think it's okay to use, like, phrases or, like, to say something in a different language as long as after that you translate it for someone else.
Yeah,
But
that's
I've been in
okay.
a situation, a work situation, where I was the only brown person in the room, right? So my boss started speaking to the clients in Mandarin. So then I was like, okay, so like no one contextualized, no one like translated it for me, right?
Yeah.
So I asked like, oh, hey, what are you talking? What you're talking about? Like, I need to know, right? So that I can like give like comments and everything. And then that's when my boss explained it, right? And then again, round 2, suddenly the whole room became like, they started talking in Mandarin. So my colleague, like, she noticed like, and then like, she whispered to me and she said, I'm so sorry that this is happening. And then I just turned to her and I said like, it's fine lah. So after the session, I went back on my own and I was really like just stomping on my way, like on the verge of tears.
It's dumb. It's stupid. It's the lack of situational awareness. It's not just about race anymore right now. It's the lack of understanding the people around you and all that. It does not make sense. Can't you not see in a white room there is a dark guy standing right there? And I'm a bit passionate about this because I've gone through this time and time again. Like after a few months, like the anger right just becomes pure humor.
Yeah, like sometimes I really want to know why that happens. Like why they think that it's okay. Then maybe I can understand. My head is like, fuck it. My heart is like, what the fuck? And then my head goes back to like, okay, think. And then like try and find, excuses. And then my heart is like, no, fuck this shit.
Okay, so I'll be honest. I'll be very honest. There are definitely times when I go out with my minority groups of friends and we speak in our language. Amongst, let's say there's someone who's taking an order who's not of the same race, for example, and then we still continue speaking in our same language. So I think, I actually never thought about that until now. That maybe I could also be racist myself when I speak in my own language.
Yeah, but then you don't realize that you're doing it to the person. That same experience is what you experience with the majority race.
Right. I feel like this is where language can be a unifying thread in a way. Because like I've seen Indians who can speak Mandarin fluently, and the kopi auntie, they get so happy when they hear when they hear Indians speaking Chinese and Mandarin. They're like, wow, this person knows how to speak my lingo. But and at the same time, it can also be used against you.
I think from a personal standpoint, I would just think that some people would think, they're so affected, man. Why they talk until like that? Or why do they make it sound like such a big deal? Along those lines. And my answer or like my reaction to myself to that was that these are my experiences and her experiences, and we are very, very sure people of what we say. So when we say certain things, we are confident, we mean it fully, and there will be there will be people who are out there to argue. But then if there are people out there to really question and really start a conversation, and then I think our job is done. I mean, that's always a good thing. So I think this context, the reward definitely outweighs the risk.
Are you guys afraid of backlash by appearing in this video?
Nobody knows who the fuck we are. So.
Definitely. I mean, I would definitely personally would fear the backlash, I think, because we are always taught to be politically correct, always taught to mince our words, maybe sugarcoat it even, so as to not offend other people. But I think you get to a point where you're like, I need to let this out. Like, we can't keep saying that, oh, race is a sensitive issue, so let's not go to that boundary because racial harmony. But what is racial harmony if you don't even freaking talk about it?
Like, a lot of people can always say like, oh, you can never change a racist, right? If the person thinks like, oh, all Malay people are that, things like that. I would like to challenge that notion. But then again, it's not for me as a minority to educate you. But at the same time, it's like, I understand like, if I'm not gonna educate you and I'm just gonna end up like, oh, you fucking racist, I don't want to talk to you, then I'm perpetuating the stereotype like, oh, all Malays are like angry and shit. So at the same time, it's very tiring for me as a Malay person to be like, okay, when do I educate and when do I just like block?
I think that the frustration stems from, you know, just helplessness. Like feeling that, okay, no matter how much you've already put in the effort to tell people, to educate people, it's just not giving you the results that you want. And then this also comes into play with the whole generational wounds of racism in Singapore, right?
But I think the most important thing is we already have this life, and this is how the world works. You don't try to fix the world overnight by doing one big thing. You do small things and you fix the bigger thing. And if you're aware of that, it helps with the patience, it helps with the lack of frustration. And the whole idea that believing that people are actually not bad helps with the empathy side also. There will always be bad apples, you know. So we cannot be constantly thinking that just because there are people that are like this, there is no help for people that are on the other side.
It would be nice if like the majority, there were more people that were like you know, so that it doesn't land on minorities who are actively trying to like, oh, fight racism and like, let me educate you.
Yeah, I don't think it's tiring to tell people to not be like that, because it's not fair. You cannot say such things and expect to get away with it, right? It's not cool. Yeah, like, it's mean.
It will really help if there were more people who like are in the majority telling other majority people, like saying like, hey, you know, don't be so racist, blah blah blah, let me educate you, blah blah blah. But the thing is, I get it's very tiring, but at the same time, like, I think we just need more people like that, because it helps to bring a middle ground between the majorities and the minorities.
One of the bad words I hate in Singapore is the word tolerance, because, you know, you go around saying like, you know, we should be tolerant to each other's race. I'm like, what's there to tolerate? I feel that it shouldn't be tolerance anymore, but it's really just a celebration of everyone's ethnic background. And I think it's really about educating person to person in that sense.